It's showtime. TikTok spits fat. If not now, then when? Welcome to As Sarah Turns, where I talk about my memoirs, aspirations, and all the messy stuff in between. Hi. Oh, bloody hell. Hi, I'm Sarah. Forgot to press the recording again. It's the 28th of August at 9 minutes to 8 in the evening. The rain has let up, but it's chilly. It's been chilly all day. I don't know if you can hear the chipmunks in the background. Can you hear that? Pretty sure it's a chippy. Maybe it's a bird. But anyways, you know how the sounds are out more after it rains? The ducks came a few times today. It was good weather for ducks. Well, where are my manners? How are you today? And thank you for coming and joining me as Sarah Turns. Have you joined the turning? Did you subscribe below and become a keeper? It'd be so lovely if you did. Goodness knows I need keepers to keep me in line and keep me on track and keep me motivated. Like I said, I was doing this either way, but it is so much more fun and rewarding knowing that there are people on the other end. Well, so thank you. And if you're new to here, welcome, welcome. Grab a chair, sit down, and watch as Sarah Turns. You never know where she'll end up, because neither does she, but there's something for you along the way, I promise. You just gotta look. You gotta dig for that gem. It's chilly. I'm cold. It's one of those days now too where it's been rainy all day. I didn't get to bed until the wee hours of this morning. I had to get up in the later wee hours of this morning and go. And today, well, I'm a little disheveled tire-wise because I dog sat and I just couldn't be bothered in the rain and the schedule and cooking and dog minding. I said, I'm just wearing something. It doesn't matter what happens to it today. My tea's past the right hot temperature. Anyway, so ideally I'm ready for the day to be over. I'm ready to get in that shower, put some pajamas on, and get to bed and just start fresh tomorrow. I really want to get back on the wagon for exercising. It has almost been a week that haven't been back to it, and boy do I feel it. I feel frumpy and loose, and my posture's compromised, and I just and all I can think about is, Sarah, you know, like if I were a drunk, right? I'd say, Sarah, you're such a bloody drunk. Like, would you stop having another, get off the bloody bottle and start doing something, right? And it's not that I'm a drinker, and it's not that I waste time. I just, as I've mentioned a few times, we are all subjected to the tyranny of our obligations throughout the day. And those obligations aren't necessarily always something that gets us closer to where we want to be. And sometimes it is just noise. Your day is filled with noise. Was that completely my day today? No. Because, well, I guess I found myself thinking about something that my mother used to say. Ah, big surprise. Sarah, you can't have your cake and eat it too. And I guess I didn't stop and think about it. Like, I think most of the problem with the language that we use and the expressions that we throw out there, like whatever, do we really know what the meaning is? Do we really know what the intent is? And I'm not saying that I know the meaning, but I am saying that today in particular, I was thinking about that expression, and I was thinking about it a bit deeper, perhaps, say, than I ever had. And it occurred to me that it doesn't so much just mean, you know, you can't get everything you want. I think that's the way I read it as a child. You can't have your cake and eat it too means you can't get everything you want. And I do think it's part of that, but I think there's another part of it, like a part B, kind of like that philosophical expression we have, I think, therefore I am, by the Descartes guy. There's more to that. Like, if you look that up, that's not, that little piece takes context and takes meaning away from his meaning. And I don't know why we've shortened it, but by shortening it, we've become more ignorant, I think. Anyways, that's something we can talk about for another day. Back to you can't have your cake and eat it too. And it occurs to me that I think there are a lot of people, whether they're part of my life or not, I think everyone has people like this, or has people like this that cross their paths, or whether it's an employer, a family member, a teacher, a friend, a neighbor, who knows? You can't have your cake and eat it too. I think also means that you can't be one of those people, or one of these people, or one of those people that does get what they want, but then criticizes or complains about how they got it, like how it was delivered or how it was executed, when they have not put any parameters on how it should be executed or interpreted or whatever. Like if they've not given you the parameters and they've just thrown out this generalized term or request, and you willingly comply because you anticipate it being a request, or you understand it, the context that it's a request, and so the choice lies to you. You can decide, do I want to do this for this person or not, or do I want to do this, whatever, do I want to do this act or not? And say you choose to, right? Not because you're made to, you choose to. But then the person who receives it, or the entity that receives it, goes out of their way to complain and criticize about how it was given to them, how you did it, how it made them feel, how your execution or your behavior affected the outcome, and therefore, though they got what they want, they're still not happy because they didn't get it exactly the way they wanted it. And I think that's what that expression means. I think that you can't be one of those people. You should be happy that you got it, whatever it is. You should be happy that you got it. And if you didn't stipulate the right parameters, again, you've no one to blame but yourself. And again, you can't expect to have your cake and eat it too, because you didn't take the necessary measures ahead of time to ensure that. So I think there's a lot of people that walk around going, that are resentful or that are complacent with the deposits and gifts that people bestow onto them. And they mistake them for privilege or right or something they deserve, something they're entitled to. No one's entitled to anything that you've not earned, right? That you've not put the time and effort and money and whatever else you might be able to put into it. No one is just born with, ta-da, you're born and you are like born with the silver spoon and Midas touch. That doesn't happen. It's not like that. And for some reason, people seem to think there's some kind of fictional that it's like that. Or maybe you have someone in your life that says that they've asked something of you. They've made a request. So again, a request, an ask suggests I have a choice, or, there's person A and person B. Person A asks, requests something of person B. And person B now has the choice, right? Does person B want to fulfill that? And so obviously person A, probably by asking, doesn't even really think that there's no chance that person B will not fulfill the request. But they ask out of nicety or out of social convention. Pardon me. So then person B complies. Person B willingly chooses to to uh, to give whatever, or meet or address or fulfill whatever the request of person A is. Okay, great. But now person A has established an expectation. Person A has potentially established an expectation, and person B, by making the choice, and really we'll say it's under the guise of making the choice, now puts themselves vulnerable, now shifts the power, now shifts the positioning of the power or the authority in the relationship. And now next time person A has a request or a need that to be fulfilled, they might automatically think of person B because of that first time. And then they go and they ask upon person B. And again, person B is faced with the possibility, with the option, with the choice. Do I want to fulfill this request? Is it worth my while? Is this person A worthy of my time and effort to fulfill the request? And also probably person B might be considering, well, what will be thought of me, and what will the consequences be if I do not fulfill? And why am I being asked? And maybe I feel a little special because I was asked, and that could affect my decision making and whether I actually decide to execute and fulfill, right? But so say I do, or person B does, right? And so now you're creating a pattern, and the power continues to shift, unknown, because it's ever so subtly and underneath the lines. And then suddenly person A starts to make these requests consistently, to the point that now it's not even really a request, it's not a tell, but it's kind of in the person A's mind a given that doesn't matter the circumstances, person B is going to step up to the plate and fulfill, because person B has never given person A a reason to think otherwise, and person B has never given any conditionings to fulfilling those things prior, because person B felt that it was an ask, it was a request, it was not an expectation, it was not a responsibility to be met, it was not a duty, it was not something that was forced, it was still a choice. But then one day person B decides, well, I don't feel like doing that, or I don't have time for that today, I can't fit that in. But I've done it so many other times, this one time should build me some credibility, and it shouldn't be a thing. And anyways, it shouldn't be a problem. I'm not going to say issue, because issue means it can't be solved, because it suggests something is chronic, a problem has a resolution. And this isn't going to be solved because, like I said, person B never stood up and said anything. And they didn't feel that they had to because they were requests. But now person A has become so accustomed to those requests being fulfilled that on the off chance that person B isn't able to meet that request, all of that previous credential isn't credential, because the truth is you're only good as the last thing you do. It's not the first impression that really, really matters. It's the last one, because you want to leave a lasting impression, right? And I think that's another problem. People don't, right? We've got it all focused wrong. What do you want? You want the last thing the person thinks of when you leave to be something good, not something bad. And so now this situation between A and B, with requests that then turn into expectations, which then turn into responsibilities. You know, a person B only becomes aware that it becomes a responsibility and an expectation when person B isn't able to fill the request. And it's not even, it's a request. It's not a demand. Therefore, it should not be a given expectation that it will be fulfilled for the person requesting it, regardless of how many times the person on the other end has come through. But then what happens is people get comfortable, and they get comfortable in a situation, and they start to create expectations. And so now they want that situation. They want that that event recreated. They want that item. They want that feeling. Whatever it is, right? Whatever the request is, now person A wants it all the time. And now person A feels put out when person B doesn't at this point comply. Now it has turned into a situation of compliance, because person A has an expectation that they won't admit, but if it's not met, then their behavior creates a very uncomfortable situation for party B involved. And party B then is faced with the choice, do I want to continue to feel like this? Yes or no? No? Well, then what do I do to change this? Well, gee, as much as I don't want to comply, I don't want to do this ask anymore because now it's become a compliance. It's just less headache if I do. So that person A in that situation is an example of where they got what they wanted, and then suddenly when it wasn't the way they wanted it, they made a complaint to the point that you felt that you're pushed into the corner and you have no choice, that it's just easier, it's the path of least resistance for you to just bend to their will, swallow the moral high ground you want to stand on, swallow your self-preservation in their eyes for your inner self-preservation, right? You do not get to complain about how something is done when it is an ask. Now, if you demand and you give parameters and you tell consequences and then it's still not done correctly, well, that's a different story, right? That means the person B just doesn't have correct training. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about situations usually between family and friends, where you're always the one that they can rely on. You're always the one that's there. You're always the good old faithful. You'll fix it. You'll come to the rescue. You'll find a solution. You'll have the extra money. You'll calm the argument. You'll go talk to the other person. You'll get on the phone and deal with customer service. You'll get to the bottom of it. You'll take out the loan. Whatever it is, you'll do all the driving. You'll take you'll plan the outing and the logistics. You'll take care of everything. And then heaven forbid that you don't, do it with bells on. You are now accountable for the happiness and development of the people around you. Those people that expect that's an example of wanting your cake and eating it too. That's what I think that expression means. And I don't have room for people like that in my life. I just don't. I don't. And I have slowly but surely been, closing my circle, because it's time and it's exhausting. You only have so much time in your lifespan. You only have so much energy. Even this conversation I'm having with you, I am expelling my vital energy that can never be replaced. I can never replace this time and this effort and this energy and this life force that it took to think of this and expel it and perform it and deliver it to you. Nor can you ever get back the time that you sit and listen to me, right? But I chose to do this for a reason. I don't choose to take on unnecessary burden anymore. I don't choose to take on other people's problems. And I don't choose to let other people's, I don't know if it's selfishness, but we'll use that for lack of a better word right now, other people's selfishness to take away from the quality of my life on a day-to-day, moment to moment. And I think in every moment you have to make the decision, is it worth it? Is it worth is the juice worth the squeeze? I get that from one of those tarot card readers I listen to, Minnow Pond, Chris. He says, Pisces, is the juice worth the squeeze? Or here's another one about an ask. Person A, party B. Party A says, Party A decides that suddenly normal day-to-day behavior that one wouldn't even consider, going out of their way, like say I drove by a gas station every night on my way home, that I don't know, I gotta be careful how I explain this. So I don't know. Say you dropped off the newspaper at some old man's house every day. There's just one of your neighbors or something, or some old man lives down, or old lady lives down the street from you, like an old senior living alone. And you just, out of the kindness of your heart, started bringing by the newspaper, or started, bringing by a pie or something once a week. Not consistently, but like once in a while. But I guess enough that the neighbor decides that, they really like that and they would like more of that. And okay, everyone's going, geez, you're pretty boring right now. Like, hurry up and get to your point. I should have probably ended it before I started this point. Okay, I'm just going to cut to the chase. If someone asks you for something, right? Again, you have the choice whether you want to do it or not. Just because someone asks doesn't mean they're guaranteed to get that. I mean, we all know that from our relationships with our parents. How many times you'd ask your parents for something, or if you could do something, and they would be like, whatever they said, it was a 50-50, whether it was a yes or a no. It was their choice to decide what the outcome was, right? So if someone asks something of you and it's your authority, you decide when it is able, if it is able to even be a thing, right? But if Party A suddenly says, that, they ask you for a certain behavior and then tell you that they will accept nothing less, that nothing else is acceptable aside from this one thing that they have just said, which you were not doing. Is that really an ask? If you ask me for something, I have the choice to do it or not. But if you ask me for something and tell me that you will not accept no for an answer, are you really asking me? Do I really have a choice now? I don't. And again, who gives you the authority? When do I get to say it's not acceptable? Right? Now, see, never, because I'm not one of those people. And likely if you're watching this and you've taken a like to me, you're not one of those people either. But there's plenty of people out there. Why are there people out there? There's not people out there. There's only people out there because people like us and people like you, people like us, you and me, we let it happen. We don't say anything and we let it happen. And then it happens and it happens and it happens. And it is like this big and now it's out of control. And we're standing on the other side going, oh, holy crow, how did this happen? This was not the intent. This was never supposed to get this much out of hand. This little thing was not supposed to turn into this. Or when people tell you things are going to be one way, and then their behavior suggests it is the total opposite. And that's the problem. Their behavior, right? This whole actions speak louder than words thing we have in our society. I mean, it's true, right? I do believe that. So it doesn't, in that expression, it doesn't matter what you said. It matters what you've done, right? Put your money where your mouth is. I mean, I guess means, right. It means do something that you're saying. That's the same thing. Put your money where your mouth is. I'm just not. I'm not going to accept these little things anymore. I'm going to stand up, because what do I have to lose? I'm already irritated by the situation. So how can not having to deal with the situation be any more irritating than dealing with the situation? How can the the lack of comfort in this situation be any more uncomfortable by having not have to go through it, or having not had to have dealt with it? I don't see. So again, it boils back to choose your friends really wisely. Choose who you let to come into your circle and your life and be part of your life force very wisely. Choose it wisely and think about it. It's like that Seinfeld episode when Elaine is like, there's discontinuing her contraceptive, birth contraceptive, those spongy things. And she stocks up on as many as she can. And then for like whatever, during that episode, the whole joke is he sponge worthy? Like, I only have so many. Do I want to waste it on you? I think if people started thinking about it more like that, maybe people would be more considerate of others and be more mindful of the time and the effort of things that go into. And again, I think if more people walked a mile in another man's shoes, meaning try and do what I'm doing before you sit there and bitch and moan and complain about it and critique how it's not the way you want and say that behavior is not acceptable. Like, you know what? Take your acceptable behavior and take a flying leap over there, life, and I know everyone says this, is too short, or life is too precious, another thing my mom says, but it is. Because we literally have a limited amount. We are not a natural renewable resource, pardon me. So what? You're going to sit around and waste it on people that have all these misplaced expectations and they continue to reign over you and think that their happiness is more important than yours? How is that healthy? And how is that helping you get closer to your goal? That sounds just like a whole bunch of bloody static. Turn that radio right off. That's what I got to say about that. I just completely went on another tangent and I don't know how to tie it all back together. A lot of people try and get their cake and eat it too. I have never been allowed to have my cake and eat it too. I was told from a very young age, you cannot have your cake and eat it too. Though I didn't realize what it really meant. I just meant, like I started with, you can't always get what you want. Well, I think it means you can't always get what you want the way you want it, how you want it, when you want it, from whom you want it. And really, you need to look at the big picture and be happy, I guess, that you got it, right? Stop complaining. If I wasn't doing this for you, as a good friend of mine says about their interactions with other people, you wouldn't have the opportunity to complain about it right now, would you? How do you like those apples? Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. I go on with these all night, I bet you. Let's see how many of them I can come up with over the course of a year. Anyway, I'm a lot more awake right now than I was an hour and a half ago. I had to lay down. And then when I woke up, I didn't even want to make content, but I was like, if not now, then when? And you have accountability and you've done all this, and I want to show up. I want to show up for you. I want to show up for me. I want to show up for us. And some days, surely it's going to be more enlightening than others, but I'm showing up because you count and I count. We count. And we're going to break these bloody patterns, and we're not going to let this stuff happen. These things happen. Nah. What do you have to lose? Standing up for yourself, sticking out, not accepting baloney the first time around. Is it really going to be that much more uncomfortable than accepting it? than stuffing down how you feel and what you want to do for the sake of someone else, sacrificing yourself for someone else. How often during your day do you sacrifice yourself and your goals and your wants for those of someone else's who is ungrateful, unappreciative, undeserving, unworthy, but they would have you think that they are all of those things, that it should make your day to be those things for them. But what have they done for you? Have they done any of those things for you? I bet you the majority of you can say they've not. Which, by the way, I don't mean to like say, put your mean comments down below. But I'm sure someone out there can relate to what I'm saying, and I'm sure someone out there needed to hear it. So again, join the turning, as Sarah turns. Join the turning. Subscribe below, become a keeper, and let us know. We want to know. We want to know what you think. We want to know what you would do. We want to know how you deal with it. Anyway, I'm getting tired again, so I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to sign off. I'm going to say to be continued. I'll see you tomorrow as Sarah turns. You never know where I'll be because neither do I. Well, again, I'm going to be here most likely because I haven't expanded my radius yet with my new equipment to be filming all over the place. But I will. But you won't know what I've done or what I'm doing or what I'm going to talk about, and half the time neither do I until I sit right down and turn on that record button and look at you guys and go, okay, what do they need to hear today? What's on my mind? And then we go. So I'm so glad I'm so glad I started the channel, and I highly recommend everyone start a channel for whatever purpose. Even if it's just a log like mine's intent, you never know who's going to find you and who's going to need to hear you and whose lives you're going to touch. If I can make one person's life better, if I can make the world a better place one episode at a time, that's being amazing, right? It looks like it's going to storm again on that side of the house, and over here it's not so much, but it looks dark over there. Okay, on that note, good old Canadian style, let's say goodbye again. So long, farewell, Alvidas and goodbye, adieu to you, and you, and you, and you. I got dreams to remember. That's it.